Okay guys, so welcome to the podcast. My name is Redseven, and in today's video we are going to be talking, you see? Okay.
Okay, it was nice to meet you guys. GG.
Hello everyone and welcome to the second episode of The Voice of the Community, a series where we talk about Escape from Tarkov with content creators, with streamers, with regular players, with the community. The topic in the second episode is going to be aggressive gameplay or playstyle versus immersive playstyle versus the initial plan of the devs with this game. As guests, I've invited two streamers. We have a Polish streamer, Robn Live, who's representing the aggressive playstyle. Then we have RedBeardOperator, a US streamer representing the more immersive side of the game. And representing the community, we have a very passionate community member, ScavAteMyLegs. Let me quickly inform you about the current topic, about this discrepancy that we have between aggressive and immersive players. Immersive players think that the aggressive players are abusing some weaknesses of the game, which can be weaknesses, or there could be work in progress, I would say. Let's not forget that the game is still in development, and some of those, let's just call them weaknesses, are going to be tackled. The aggressive players on the other hand complain about the game being too mission oriented. They need to find a lot of loot, find do like a lot of stuff in raid, and they're like very PvP oriented, and they simply do not want to do that stuff. And on the other hand, like the third side is the initial plan of the devs with Escape from Tarkov, because every game has a purpose, has a design, has a goal. Either it's RPG, a first person shooter, or a strategy game. Escape from Tarkov had, I hope it still has, an initial plan. So that's the main topic, just to put you up to date with the current problem. Before we jump into our topic and before we let the guys introduce themselves, I need to let you guys know I am recording this intro of mine after recording the actual podcast. So what will happen is that I'm going to be splitting the second episode into two parts because of the length of it, and I hope you guys will enjoy both of the parts. Without further ado, let's go directly to the subject, to the topic, guys, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So let's just let the guys introduce themselves, and then we can start with the questions. I'm gonna go with Scav. What can you tell us about you, Scav?
I'm just a college student that's been really obsessed with Tarkov ever since I started playing it in like 0.9, and I've just been following it ever since. I dropped pretty much all the other games. I used to play CS:GO as my main game before I got onto Tarkov, but now it's really just Tarkov.
Okay, Red?
Yes, name's RedBeardOperator. And my history with the game comes from, I actually seen it on a post, and I believe it was Devil Dog Gaming that put it up, and it was something like the title was John Wick with a pistol, and I remember seeing this game and thinking, what was it and things like that, and never had seen anything like that. I have a history, kind of like Dan Exert. I was a console player from the time of the PlayStation 1 all the way up, Metal Gear Solid fan, things like that, and I've always been more on the lines of a lone wolf. And when I seen something like Tarkov, when you have that ability to go out and there's so many different variables, so many different play styles, you never know what's going to happen from one thing to the next. There's never with CS:GO, with a lot of the games, I feel like SOCOM, Navy SEALs, things like that, there gets a rhythm or a pattern. The thing about Tarkov is you never know what's going to happen from. You might have an engagement that is somewhat similar in the same place, but then again, it can be totally different depending on whether it's a four-man, depending on the communication, depending on how much they played the game. Have they just reset their account? There's so many variables
Definitely.
in this game that make it something that I haven't been able to put down. Dan said it perfectly. Since I picked up this game, since I've seen it, that's all I've wanted to play.
Do you have military background?
No, sir, I do not. And that's one thing is I always say is that yes, the Redbeard, the operator comes from my tactics, the way that I go about. I'm not the type person. As soon as I see someone, I'm going to start to engage you. I'm going to sit and watch you. I'm going to find out if you have a friend. I'm going to watch your tendencies. I'm going to see where you're going. And when I pull the trigger, it's going to be at the most opportune time. You're not going to be able to know where it's coming from. And usually it's a one shot. And that's the way that I play. Now, push comes to shove, if it's fight or flight in dorms, 4-man in 30 seconds is just did it less than a week ago, and that's the thing about Tarkov. It takes different play styles. It takes the aggressive versus the immersive, and you're able to gel it into this one package that finished product. What is it finally going to be? And it's going to be completely different than what we have in game right now.
All right. Robin, your turn.
If I have to introduce myself, I would say I'm just another dude that's super passionate about this game. I'm a former CSGO player, CS player in general. I've been playing this game for years. Switched to Tarkov like 4-5 wipes ago, and I'm just got recently to streaming like 3 months ago, and I'm just in love with that.
Okay. All right, thank you for the introductions. I would say let's jump directly into it, and straight off the bat, I'm going to ask the first question, and this is for all of you guys. Feel free to answer if you think you have like an answer about it. What do you guys feel, or what do you guys think? Do you guys think that the aggressive playstyle goes directly against the vision Nikita and BSG had when they initially started developing Escape from Tarkov? What do you guys think?
I don't think the aggressive playstyle goes directly against it. I think the way Nikita wants the game to work is he wants the game to be slow paced in general, and then separated by like short bursts of very fast like firefights in combat. I don't think he has anything personally against the fast paced gameplay, because there's a lot of elements that can be fast paced.
Yeah, I'm not saying just a second, guys. I'm not saying that. Don't understand me wrong. I'm not saying that Nikita has something against aggressive gameplay. No, what I'm saying is the vision of the initial, the way the game meant to be. Does that vision has anything against aggressive gameplay playstyle?
I would say I agree with Scav, because we can see every single like major patch. Nikita is trying to slow down the game with like med animation, packing, packing ammunition and all that stuff. Now he's going to go to introduce the post-rate healing, so he is definitely trying to slow down the game.
I see. Red, anything to add?
I think that when you talk about directly against it, something that I love about Tarkov is I would love to cover these two gentlemen. I would love to pull Overwatch for them to when they go into dorms, because this is the thing about Tarkov, that it is so dynamic from what are you going to do in this 100 meters, the next 100 meters, the next 100 meters? Is it a field? Is it a dorm that you have to clear? These guys go in with a designated rifle or designated weapon for that. And then I cover them, and that implements another style, another dynamic to Tarkov of the team play and things like that. And it's just, I don't believe that there's anything that goes against aggressive play and things like that. It's just, how do you adapt from when you add the meta animations? You take quicker meds, you take morphine, you take stimulus, things like that. You do things that where you can still have that aggressive play style, or you take more ammo. You take 7 mags instead of taking 160 or 130 and sitting there and packing that. You make it to where that aggressive play style, you're still able to continue doing that.
Okay, so even if they add a lot of mechanics or features into the game in order to slow the, let's just call it aggressive gameplay down, people will still be able to adapt and continue with their own style to a certain degree, let's just say, right?
Absolutely. I feel like it's still, you're still going to be capable of doing it, but I think what'll happen is you'll see guys that their craft of how they go about doing it, that's something that they'll really be able to translate to the rest of the community and help people out to, hey, listen, this is the way, if you still want to have this aggressive play style to where you can enjoy the game, here's how to run or how to set that up.
Okay, so you guys, yes, go ahead, sure.
I think that's amazing about Tarkov, that there is no set like pattern you can play this game. You can actually do whatever you want. You can engage every single fight, or just don't fight at all. You can just loot a few boxes and escape, and that's awesome about this game. And I think that's like the end goal of Tarkov is like play the game how you like it. Like if you want to kill another scav, do it. If you want to cooperate. That's fantastic about the game.
I see,
free will.
but still, I'm coming to like the first idea of the question. When let me just explain a bit. I didn't want to go too much into detail with this, but I think it needs a bit more explanation. When the devs started developing the game, they had an initial plan. You know, when they do Call of Duty Modern Warfare, for example, or when they do DayZ, that game has a certain path, right? Because I don't think that Nikita started developing the game and he was like, okay, that's that, let's see what comes out, right? No, they had a plan. They had an idea. This game should be a, let's just say, first-person shooter with RPG elements, right? DayZ, it's a role-play game with like third-person, first-person, and so on, right? All the games have a certain design, a certain path. But what I'm trying to say is, we know that there are a lot of facets or phases when you play Escape from Tarkov. You can play aggressive, you can play, you can be an explorer, for example. There are a lot of aspects that you can cover. But does the aggressive playstyle, and by aggressive playstyle, I mean what you guys see on labs, for example, with all that bunny hopping, throwing grenades behind cover, you know, shooting from the hip, all that stuff. That stuff has something against the initial idea of Escape from Tarkov. You know what I mean? Is this aggressive playstyle turning Escape from Tarkov into a Call of Duty or Counter-Strike type of game? You guys,
I feel like it's only doing that on the smaller maps, because if you think about it, you can't play very aggressively on bigger maps like Interchange or Shoreline. Well, kind of Shoreline because of the resort, but
yes.
on bigger maps you can't sprint around. That's not going to help you as much as in labs, because it's close quarters in labs. If you're sprinting around on Interchange, it doesn't really matter as much because there's those long hallways.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
it doesn't support the aggressive play as much.
Yeah, we can't expect to play like tactically in a map like, for example, Factory. When there is super small map, there is no room to flank to, you know. So in my opinion, Nikita is going something in between. Like there are maps, just like Scav said, there you have to play tactically and you will benefit on that. But there are also maps like Labs or Factory that is basically pure for PvP experience, right?
Okay. So actually it doesn't matter how you play, right? Should I understand it like this? Because it's not that that I'm having a problem, but I somehow try to reconciliate all this different type of gameplay and somehow try to find like a middle way, you know, understand them all. You know, so it doesn't matter actually. The game gives you the ability to play however you want. And then if you want to play aggressive, just play aggressive. It's your choice, right? It has some down points, and in the future it will have some penalties, probably some more penalties. And if you play slow, then it has some disadvantages and some advantages, right? Should I understand it like that? I mean, people should just accept it and that's it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah?
I would say.
And let me throw this out here of the soft skills and things like this. How many of us have been wearing a face shield and took one right in between the eyes and just you're able to keep going? What happens when they make it to where there's a effect to where concussion is a legitimate concussion? You close your eyes, you get tunnel vision, you get things like that, and then you see what I'm saying? I mean, there's once the finished product, and we have certain things that are going to go against their aggressive play style. I mean, it's not necessarily against they're wanting to go to a realistic type of game, realistic in every point of view. So that's something that maybe people have to understand is it's not necessarily is trying to go against the aggressive play style. This is what the roadmap, this is what Tarkov was supposed to be. And just people just have to accept that change.
So
I think
we can actually accept, or we can actually wait for the end phase of the game and see how this aggressive playstyle will develop, right? Because it could perdure, or it could still be up there, or when the game is going to be released fully, then it will probably not be possible anymore because of certain mechanics which are going to be implemented, right? It's also possible, right?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay. Red, one question for you. What do you feel, because you play like a bit more immersive and hardcore? What do you feel, or what do you think about the current rise of, let's just say, aggressive players or streamers, like for example Robin here? How, if you have like experiences with this, how do you tackle them? What do you do, or is it disturbing you, or just something that you accept and take for granted?
The thing that I fear the most, especially when you're dealing with somebody like Scav, somebody like Robin, this aggressive play style, is if these guys have if both of them, say in a duo, have very good communication, that's very hard to go up against. It's hard to play against There was a recent engagement and had a 4-man that come into dorms, a perfect execution as far as they breached from different points. When they came in fast. They came in stacked on each other. Problem was, you could tell it was communication. There are 4-mans that they might as well not even have headphones on because the communication is so bad. And that adds to another level of Tarkov, and also the solo player. The solo aggressive player, that's what you see with some of the big name streamers, the guys that go into labs that I'm talking about. They just wipe the floor, and Ghost Freak, Quattro, some of those guys, and that is, I mean, it's just ridiculous, and it's very, very hard to go up against
to take them down.
Is exactly, and it's they're quick, they're precise, and they know what they're doing.
Yeah. You want to add something, Scav, maybe?
Yeah, sure. I think with those really aggressive solo players, it puts the squads at a huge disadvantage because they're trying to communicate who's where and who's friendly or not. And the solo players, they can shoot whoever they want. They don't have to confirm that.
They have that
So
liberty.
it's
Yes,
instant for them.
Mm-hmm. Robin, coming from a background where you played a lot of Counter-Strike, and where you use a lot the hip fire, or is that mechanic, or are those mechanics from Counter-Strike helping you? I mean, it's obvious that they do help, right? Because you get that muscle memory and you know where the head is when you're shooting from the hip fire. But I mean, that's obvious. That's obvious. And this is, if you watch or if you check the script, exactly like that, I formulated the question. But then I thought, wait just a moment. If I ask him only that question, the answer would be yes, definitely, right? It's a muscle memory, right? But do you think by that, and this is a tougher question, do you think that the hip fire in Escape for Tarkov is too OP?
I mean, now we can start the discussion that it's not hip fire, it's point fire, and I believe it's somewhat good, but I disagree with the skill system. For example, AR control, and those skills, in my opinion, are way too good. And like you told me yesterday, I was playing with SE58 fully modded. AR control is max, recoil control is max. There is no recoil. Basically, it's like shooting the best modded HK in this game. And
and you were playing with the battle rifle 762.
Exactly.
Battle
And
rifle.
in my opinion, it's not about the point fire itself. It's more about the skill system. Because like early wipe, I wouldn't be able to play like this with point fire everything and across the map. I wouldn't be able to.
Yeah. Okay. But tell us the difference between point fire and hip fire, please.
So just how it sounds. Basically, hip fire is shooting from your hip when you don't necessarily like aim. And point fire is basically like the difference between point fire and ADS is moving your head towards the iron sights or towards the scope you have on your gun. So basically, point fire is almost like aiming down sights, but without putting your face to the gun. So it is accurate, but not as accurate as it is right now, in my opinion.
I see. I'm going to jump to the next question. If Scav, you want to add something, maybe, or should I go for it?
No, I think we're good.
Yeah, I actually want to add something to that.
Sure.
It's talking about the difference between the point fire and then the hip fire. The thing about it is a lot of the CQB. If you watch any of Grand Thumb, you watch any of Travis Haley, Magpul Dynamics, actually watch these special forces and things like that when they go in and these gentlemen clear rooms and things like that. A lot of them are not aiming down the sight. A lot of them are point firing. The repetition and going and doing these drills and going in these shoot houses and things like that. Point firing within 20 meters is very much. I mean, it's. Yes, you do aim down the sights in some cases and things like that, or shoot through the sight. But that's the thing about it is the point firing right now that is in Tarkov. People think that it's OP and things like that. That is somewhat realistic. Yeah, I think it's very, very well done. I think it's better than a lot of games. Understanding you was talking about 7.62 being able to fire it. That weapon, 7.62, the FAL, the OSW that we actually have in game, that weapon, in my Instagram, I've actually posted this weapon of a guy firing it. And I mean, hardly any recoil. And you got to understand the gases and the piston system that they have developed over time that have put in these weapons to make them in. I don't think that that's guys understand. Okay, well, this AK-74 is a smaller bullet. Why does it have more recoil than this FAL? And
I
that comes
see.
with newer weapons being added into AK-107, the AN-94, things like that have gas systems, or they have different pistons and things, different recoil control that are in the weapon, that some of these weapons actually are that accurate in the hands of certain people. And that comes along with the soft skills, us being able to develop our soft skills and things like that. We are supposed to be operators. We're supposed to be special forces. So that goes along with the lore, I guess, of Tarkov.
What we also need to understand that we are talking about the phase of the game which is not fully developed. So as the guys or the devs on the forum said or say a lot of times, the game, guys, is still not finished. It's going to be totally different when we're going to have the full release. So for now, we are just testing and testing. That's what they say on the forum. So we need to understand basically this, that this is just nothing else but a phase, a testing phase, let's just call it like that. And it will probably change in the future. And if you reach Elite, then you will probably be having a lot more recoil control or weapon control, right? In comparison with, let's just say, a level 14 or 15 or so, right? We need to understand this, I guess.
Yeah.
For the hardcore players, I mean, just you guys think a bit about this situation. What do you guys think that, I mean, depending on the direction the game is going to take, if the game is going to become too fast paced, do you think that a lot of players will go to some other games, like let's just say Call of Duty, let's just say Apex, or some stuff like that, which are better designed, in my opinion, for now, you know, better designed with better graphics, with not necessarily better graphics. Yeah, we can. This is discussable, you know. But those games are a tradition for fast pace and for first person shooting. Do you think that the community, do you think that the player base will leave for those type of fast paced games?
I don't think the aggressive players from Tarkov are going to leave. I just think the slower players are going to leave because they're going to be disrupted if all the aggressive players get a bunch of advantages to their aggressive play, because Tarkov is really more of a slow-paced game compared to all those fast-paced games like Apex and other, like Call of Duty as well.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, I don't think that, like, me as an aggressive player, I would never leave to any game like Apex, because it's like it's a different game. Like,
It's a totally
Exactly.
different world, right?
exactly, we played this game because it's like somehow hardcore realistic shooter when we actually can lose some stuff, and not like Call of Duty that we just, you know, take different character with different gun and go again for 15 rounds. It's something different, and I don't think that fast-paced players would leave this game for any of the games you mentioned.
I see. Okay. Not
It's guys play
yeah.
more of, you play Apex because it's Apex. You play Tarkov because it's Tarkov. You play Siege because it's that type of play style. I think what we have right now, we have a base of the population that's in the community. They play at Tarkov because it's Tarkov, and I don't think that it'll ever get to a point of gelling like those games. There are comparisons, but I don't think it'll get to that point where you're
So
saying.
Tarkov fans will remain Tarkov fans. Apex are going to go to Apex because they like Apex. It's like, for example, the viewer who comes to the streamer to watch the streamer and not the game he's playing, right? Something like that. Yeah. Okay. Robin, because you have this Counter-Strike skills, and because this is a developed skill that you cannot replicate, or that we cannot replicate, what advice would you give to someone who's not that skilled at you, and who's someone who doesn't play as aggressive as you? What advice would you give that person? How should that guy take you down? What's like the best strategy for a hardcore or immersive player or a slow-mo player to take an aggressive player down?
First of all, I need to say that there is some renovation going on, and somebody's drilling here, so I'm really sorry if you hear that.
We do not hear that.
Because I mute myself all the time.
I
But,
see.
hey, if I'm going to tell you that, I'm not gonna play as good anymore.
Can't let the secrets out.
Yeah, but to be honest,
Well, we're gonna have to do a cut here and split the podcast into two parts. As said at the beginning, if you want to find out how to take down a skilled player, well, then you will have to come and watch the second part. Remember that you can also listen to these podcasts on Podbean if you are traveling a lot and do not have time to watch the entire video. The link is down in the description. Leave some feedback there so that I know how many of you are using this option I recently added. Hope to see you on my streams on Twitch. I am striving to stream daily and I am a very interactive person. Thank you for watching the first part of our podcast. Patrons and viewers, thank you very much for the awesome support so far. Definitely give the guys a visit, they deserve it, and you will definitely learn a lot of things from them. Just say you came from Redseven's channel, for example. Have a nice weekend and talk to you in the next video. Peace.